Have you ever noticed in football sometimes it only takes one season? Just one season for a player to look like the next Ballon d'Or winner, and then vanish quicker than the VAR review of a clear-cut foul. Today, we're diving into football's greatest one-season wonders. The guys who had us all convinced they were the second coming of Messi, only to spend the rest of their careers looking like they forgot how to lace their boots. The first name that comes to mind for most people is Michu, the Spanish striker who turned the Premier League upside down for one glorious season, and one season only. Back in 2012-2013, Swansea pulled off one of the bargains of the decade, signing him from Rayo Vallecano for just £2 million. And what did they get? A guy who bagged 18 Premier League goals and 22 in all competitions in his first season, dragging Swansea into the spotlight. This wasn't Manchester United or Chelsea. This was Swansea City, a club most people outside of Wales couldn't even point to on a map. Michu was the guy. He bullied defenses, embarrassed goalkeepers, and even had Arsenal fans asking, wait, did we just get dinked on by a bloke named Michu? He wasn't just scoring goals, he was giving Swansea their first ever major trophy, the League Cup.
This has been an amazing first season in English football for you.
Yeah, it's good. Good position in the league. And take my first title in my career is with this performance. Really, a really good day.
Was instantly writing himself into the club's history books. But as quickly as he rose, the decline came. Injuries piled up, consistency faded, and that spark never quite returned. A failed loan move to Napoli didn't help, and eventually he drifted back to Spain, turning out for smaller sides until the spotlight was gone. He had us convinced he was the next big thing, and for that, he cemented as one of the greatest one-season wonders the Premier League has ever seen. Over in Grafite was writing his own blockbuster story in the 2008-09 Bundesliga season for Wolfsburg. Honestly, this campaign has to be one of the most iconic single-season striker runs in Bundesliga history. Partnered up front with Edin Dzeko, the pair became absolute nightmares for defenses. They were like football's version of a buddy cop duo. Grafite, the unpredictable, silky technician, and Dzeko, the classic target man who can hold it up and bury chances. And under manager Felix Magath's ultra-attacking philosophy, Wolfsburg suddenly went from mid-table regulars to title contenders. Grafite was unstoppable. He smashed in 28 goals in just 25 Bundesliga games. That's over a goal per game. In one of Europe's toughest leagues, he was outscoring stars like Mario Götze and Miroslav Klose, while also edging out his own partner Zenko, who also bagged 26. Together, the duo combined for 54 league goals. Ridiculous numbers. And the peak moment? The legendary 5-1 demolition of Bayern Munich. Grafite produced one of the coldest goals in Bundesliga history, faking shots, skipping around the keeper, and then casually backheeling the ball into the net as Bayern defenders scrambled helplessly. It wasn't just a goal, it was theater. By the end of the season, Wolfsburg had won their first and only Bundesliga title, with Grafite racking up 35 goals and 12 assists in all competitions. Not bad for a guy who, just a year earlier, was a relatively unknown striker from Le Mans in France. But like so many one-season wonders, the magic didn't last. After that miracle year, his form dipped, and he eventually moved to Al Ahly in the UAE before spells in Brazil and Qatar. Still, that 2008-09 season is etched in Bundesliga folklore forever. Next on the list is Nicolas Pepe. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, Nicolas Pepe? On this list? Surely not. Even when I asked Gemini about it, it came back with an emphatic no. But, hear me out. Back in 2018-19 with Lille, Pepe didn't just break onto the scene. He exploded like a firework at a kid's birthday party. He put up video game numbers for a winger, 22 goals and 11 assists in Ligue 1, finishing only behind Kylian Mbappe in the scoring charts. That's 33 goal involvements in 38 games. Insane output. Defenders couldn't breathe near him. Fast breaks, 1v1 take-ons, gliding through like he had the cheat codes unlocked. Bro was electric. He was keeping company with the likes of Messi and Mbappe, who were leading the charts on goals and assists that season. Suddenly, everyone thought Pepe was the next big thing in football. Arsenal thought so too, splashing a record £72 million on him. The fans were expecting the next Eden Hazard. He made a similar move from Lille to Chelsea. But, well, let's just say it didn't quite go to script. Instead of Hazard 2.0, Arsenal fans got flashes of brilliance, a few lovely Europa League free kicks, and the occasional, "Oh wow, he might actually cook today" performances. His best league return since his breakout season has been 10 goals and 1 assist for Arsenal. A far cry from that monster season in Lille. Since then, it's been a loan move to Nice, a free transfer to Trabzonspor, and now Villarreal. Respectfully, it's a long way away from that 2018-19 season when he looked like the next big winger in Europe. So yeah, while he might not be the most obvious one-season wonder, when you compare his Lille masterclass to everything else in his career, the drop-off is just too high to ignore. Papiss Cisse didn't even need a full season to make it on this list. Should we call him a half-season wonder? In all seriousness, bro was more than just a signing. He became a phenomenon overnight. Arriving at Newcastle in the January 2012 window, the Senegalese striker was branded the sacred number 9 shirt and immediately broed up with Dembaba. In just 14 Premier League appearances, 13 starts, Cisse fired in 13 goals, a ridiculous goal per game ratio, including the famous 35-yard outside of the boot stunner versus Chelsea that defied physics. He didn't stop there. He scored in 7 consecutive Premier League matches, matching the club records of legends like Alan Shearer and Les Ferdinand. Just to put it in perspective, bro walked in from Freiburg, made a raft of defenses look silly, and had fans shouting, "Who is this sorcerer?" after his chip at Swansea and his volley stuff at Stamford Bridge. But hold on, because the jump from supernova to sustained brilliance is steep. The next season, 2012-13, he managed 8 Premier League goals and 36 appearances. Decent, but nowhere near that opening fireworks. After that, it got tougher. Tactical tweaks, position changes, injuries, they all chipped away at his finishing sharpness. Bro became less of a cheat code and more of an okay finisher. Across his Newcastle tenure, Cisse scored 44 goals in 131 appearances. A rate that's decent, but never again rivaled the insane opening half season. For example, in 2013-14, he only bagged 2 Premier League goals across 24 starts. 2014-15, he had a rebound to 11 Premier League goals, but still far from that 2011-12 level. So yeah, while we call Cisse a one-season wonder, it's not just nostalgia, it's hardcore stats. The debut was peak, electrifying, unforgettable. After that, bro tried, showing flashes but never recreating the magic. And maybe that's what makes that half season so legendary. Now, when we talk about one-season wonders, we have to bring up Christian Benteke's 2012-13 masterclass at Aston Villa. Before Ollie Watkins was banging goals and before Marcus Rashford was carrying Manchester United's PR campaigns, there was Benteke, a man who turned up from Belgium and decided the Premier League was his personal playground. Villa signed him from Genk for about £7 million, which at the time felt like a gamble. Spoiler alert, it was the best gamble they'd made in years. In his first season, Benteke didn't just settle into the league. Bro kicked the door down, walked straight to the fridge, and helped himself. He scored 23 goals in all competitions, 19 of them in the Premier League. First season, new country, regulation scrapping Villa, and he's out here putting up numbers Chelsea still haven't seen from a striker in about a decade. To put it in perspective, 19 league goals in a single season for Aston Villa then was like finding out your microwave can fully cook a Sunday roast. Nobody expected it, and yet, there it was. Arsenal fans, cover your ears. If Benteke had been wearing red that year instead of claret and blue, Wenger might have actually lifted another league title. He finished 4th in the Premier League's Golden Boot race, behind only Robin van Persie, Luis Suarez, and Gareth Bale. That's literally the Avengers of 2013 football, and Benteke was hanging around with them like he belonged. At 22 years old, he directly contributed to 40% of Villa's goals that season. From March to May, when Villa were desperate, he scored 9 goals in 11 games, almost single-handedly dragging them to survival. And it wasn't just quantity. The style was there too. A beast in the air, strong enough to bully center backs, technical enough to actually pull off a Cruyff turn without breaking his own ankles. He was outscoring strikers like Wayne Rooney, Dembaba, and Jermaine Defoe, which in 2013 was no small feat. The guy was cooking. He was nominated for PFA Young Player of the Year, made it to the PFA Fans Team of the Season, and the big boys came calling. Liverpool dropped £32.5 million on him, and that's where the story goes downhill faster than a kid on a water slide. At Anfield, Benteke just didn't fit. His hold-up style clashed with Klopp's heavy metal football, and suddenly he looked like a guest star in a show he wasn't cast for. After one season, he was shipped to Crystal Palace, where he had flashes, a big goal here, a towering header there, but never truly got back to the chaos he caused in 2012-13. Some weeks he looked unstoppable, other weeks you'd forget he was even on the pitch. That's why, for all his talent and longevity, most people remember Benteke for that one glorious debut season at Villa Park. For 1 year, he was untouchable. After that, well, let's just say he peaked harder than a TikTok trend. Tanguy Ndombele might go down as one of the slickest one-season wonders we've ever seen. In 2018-19 at Lyon, he wasn't just good. He looked like the future of midfield football. Strong enough to shrug players off like they were shopping bags, light on his feet, and bold enough to glide past entire midfields. That season, he cooked some of Europe's best. Against Manchester City in the Champions League, he ran the show. 5 dribbles, 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, and a midfield clinic against Gundogan, David Silva, and Fernandinho. He did the same against Barcelona and PSG, collecting player of the match nods like Pokemon cards. People were calling him a mix between Pogba and Kante, which, let's be honest, is probably the highest compliment a French midfielder can get. Naturally, everyone wanted him. Spurs dropped a club record 55 to 60 million pounds to bring him in, and his very first touch in a preseason game was an assist. Tottenham fans thought they'd just signed football's Thanos, someone who could do everything. But here's where it gets awkward. After that magical Lyon season, the consistency vanished. Injuries played a part, but even managers hinted at professionalism issues. Mourinho, never one to mince words, basically said he expected a Ferrari and instead got an Uber that cancels mid-ride. To be fair, flashes of brilliance still pop up, whether it was a stretch in 2020-21 with Spurs or glimpses at Napoli. But he never came close to replicating that Lyon season where he bullied Europe's elite. So, while the talent is undeniable, the output screams one season wonder. For one glorious year, Ndombele was the midfielder everyone wanted. After that, well, let's just say Lyon sold him at exactly the right time.